Tim Walz is the vice president. Not the vice president of the country, but the vice presidential selection. Let me tell you my first observation. Kamala Harris is receiving coaching, and she's accepting it. There were at least 5 times yesterday, because I've watched a fair amount of Kamala Harris throughout the years, where she wanted to laugh, and she wanted to cackle, and she stopped herself. Somebody on her team who knows what they're talking about has told her, stop cackling. We love you, Kamala, but you got to stop doing that. Watch this clip right here. This is cut 63. This shows how she's being coached. She is being micromanaged by the best that Hollywood has to offer. And more importantly, she's receiving the coaching. Having watched Kamala Harris now for over 5 years very intimately, you could tell when she's about to do that horrendous nails on a chalkboard cackle. But she didn't do it once yesterday. But she wanted to. Watch closely. Play cut 63. She doesn't know what to do other than say good evening. Right at the beginning, she's almost about to do that awful cackle that she's done, and she stopped herself. Her speeches are even shorter than Biden's. They're very crisp. She does not go off teleprompter. They are well written. They know that she's insanely unlikable. She's received the coaching. Stop cackling. Hide her away. It's been 17 days that she has now been hiding from the media. And it might end up being 71 days. Why would Kamala Harris have to take a single question this entire election season? And if she does, she'll sit down with George Stephanopoulos or Lester Holt, and it will be easy softball type stuff. She is more ambitious than Lucifer. She will do whatever it takes. And we know that from her career. From Willie Brown, California Attorney General, U.S. Senator, Vice President. This is her at the rally last evening, talking about how they're going to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, assault weapons ban. The assault weapon ban was a mistake if you were trying to win over potential swing voters in Arizona and Pennsylvania. She shouldn't have said that. But everything she is saying is based in data, is based in polling. She does not go an iota, a comma, a syllable off of script. It is a artificial intelligence Chat GPT infused campaign. And it is easy to make fun of, but it very well might end up working. Does that mean Kamala Harris is going to win? No. Does it mean that this is going to be tight? Oh, yeah. This thing is going to come down to the wire. They're playing Moneyball. They're running the numbers. It's all stats. While our side is mostly about vibes and attitude and the flow of energy. And their strategy that they broadcasted to us is very simple. It is 6 words, and you should commit it to memory. Win by more, lose by less. Those 6 words is the Democrat Harris-Walz agenda for the 2024 campaign. What does it mean to win by more and lose by less? It is about the vanishing swing voter. Kamala Harris wants to win by more in heavy Democrat areas, which is why she's running a complete base campaign. Run up the score in downtown Philadelphia. Run up the score in the LGBTQ centers. Run up the score in the black centers. Run up the score at the base of your party. Run up the score university campuses. And then Mr. Walz will be responsible for losing by less. Mr. Walz will be responsible for going to rural areas and having Trump win by 25 instead of 30. Having Trump win by 22 instead of 24. The lose by less, win by more strategy has proven to be very successful for Democrats in recent years. So we are going to run a campaign where the enthusiasm itself in the urban corridors is electric and is kinetic and is combustible. And in the rurals, we get some of Donald Trump's base just enough to second guess themselves. Maybe go to third party, maybe not show up. And that's where Walz is going to be camped out. Win by more and lose by less. This strategy plays to their strengths. Without going too deep into the policy here, because I want to try to just examine what they're doing from a political standpoint, there is no technical definition of assault weapons ban. The Walz-Harris combo will be the most radical gun-grabbing administration in American history. While crime is going up and we are being invaded, and there are 99 known terrorists that have been released into the interior of this country by Kamala Harris herself, they're going to try to take your guns away. This is Kamala Harris reading her teleprompter. Listen carefully, play cut 68.
So Tim is a hunter and a gun owner who believes, as the majority of gun owners do, that we need reasonable gun safety laws in America. So as governor, he expanded background checks and increased penalties for illegal firearm sales. And together, when we win in November, we are finally going to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban.
Hold on a second. Tim Walz wouldn't be able to own a firearm. He's got a DUI. I don't think Tim Walz would be able to own a gun. Got stolen valor. Would Tim Walz be able to pass a background check? Tim Walz is a live-action role player of a Midwestern kind of folksy type guy. Tim Walz went 96 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. Would Tim Walz be able to pass a background check? In our book, Right Wing Revolution, we talk about how the left is always putting things in drag. You got pictures of Tim Walz pheasant hunting. And let me just say this. Tim Walz, I'm just going to just venture a guess here. I would love to put you and Don Jr. You each get 25 rounds. And you guys go work a pheasant field this October. I think he'll make a fool out of you. Let's see how good of a shot you actually are, Tim Walz. It is pure propaganda. They're showing these pictures of him out, with his over-under. He's like, oh, yeah, look at me. I'm a huge hunter. And people say, wow, he's so folksy. He hunts. Look at him hunting. I'm just a folksy Midwestern guy. Meanwhile, rioters are looting a Target, and it took him 20 hours to approve the National Guard, and Minneapolis was burned to a crisp. But hey, he live-action role plays as a pheasant hunter. The play of Tim Walz is more and more about that blue wall rust belt than anything else. It also has elements when it comes to Nebraska, because Tim Walz was born in Nebraska, in that singular Nebraska congressional district. They think Tim Walz will be able to help with the Big Ten vote. They think their strategy is this: soften the MAGA base and soften the conservative turnout in our best areas to win, where we get 70 or 80% of the vote, and then go get 70, 80% of the vote in your very heavy Democrat areas. And they have run the numbers, and they think they can win. Now, a counter to this needs to be that we start to think more creatively about where this campaign is going. I understand there's a fair amount of bitterness and people that are tired and they're fatigued because they thought we were running against Biden. That's over. Those excuses are waning. We are now in a political trench fight for the future of our civilization. And it's time for us to start to propose creative, new, fresh ideas to put the Democrats on defense, put our candidates in the best possible positions. Like we've said on the show, a town hall debate is the only type of debate that President Trump should agree to, nothing else. Kamala Harris can't speak to voters, no matter how much coaching, no matter how much chat GPT programming she gets. She's not bright enough or talented enough to actually speak to human beings.